You are now listening to our Inner Power podcast program, The Heart of War, Impact and Healing, where we uncover the profound effects of conflict and the path to recovery. In this episode, we'll be delving into anger, fire burning within, the destructive nature of unchecked anger and how it perpetuates violence, ways to use compassionate listening to understand and dissipate anger, mindfulness practice on cooling the flames of anger. High harmony seekers, have you ever experienced the warmth of a candle's flame on your palm? There's a certain level of warmth that we need to be cautious of, as getting too close could result in getting burned. Just like anger, when it's understood, it can bring light and warmth. But if it's left unchecked, it turns into a raging fire that engulfs everything. Today, there is a fierce conflict between Gaza and Israel that is engulfing our world. It seems that many of us, even though we are not physically present on the battleground, can still sense the intensity of this conflict. We are deeply worried about our loved ones who are caught in the midst of this turmoil. We can all relate to the uncertainty, fear, and desperate longing for news that many of us have experienced. Today, we're going to find out and unravel the fiery emotions that reside within ourselves and the world that surrounds us. Let's have a thoughtful discussion about the nature of anger, its origins and evolution, and its impact on perpetuating cycles of violence. Let's find out how anger can be transformed into understanding, healing, and ultimately, peace through the power of stories. By practicing mindfulness and compassionate listening, we can navigate through our anger and find a path towards resolution. During our conversation, we will be practicing a meditation that will help calm our restless spirits and bring relief to the fiery emotions of anger. By the end of our conversation, you would have the necessary tools and insights to discover a sense of peace. Even when faced with life's challenges, if you have a seed, when you water this seed, it will grow into a tree. Just like how we all have a little bit of anger deep down inside, similar to how a tree requires soil, water, and sunlight to thrive. Our anger also arises from specific causes and conditions. To truly grasp the essence of anger, one must delve into its underlying causes and conditions. It is crucial to recognize that anger is not a standalone emotion, but rather a complex interplay of various interconnected factors. Anger has been with us since the early days of our evolution as a species. Back in the wilderness of our ancestral past, anger had a clear role to play. Back in the day, when our ancestors encountered danger, whether it was a hungry predator or rival tribes, a surge of anger would well up inside them, getting them ready for either a fierce fight or a quick getaway. It was a way to stay alive. We still carry within us the flame of this timeless tool, this ancient fire. In today's society, the nature of threats has evolved. Our ancestors had to deal with predators in a completely different manner than we do today. However, the mechanism is still in place. Nowadays, the anger that used to be focused on clear dangers is instead directed at differences of opinion, miscommunications, biases, and even long-held beliefs inherited over time. When we look at the ongoing conflict between Gaza and Israel, it's important to understand that the anger we see is not solely a result of recent events. It is deeply rooted in the histories, narratives, and traumas that both sides have endured. Every act of violence, every declaration, every loss only adds more fuel to the fire of anger that never seems to extinguish. However, there is a deep understanding that arises from this. Similar to how a tree is connected to the soil, water, and sunlight that help it grow, our anger is intertwined with its underlying causes and conditions. Understanding the interconnectedness of things helps us view anger not as a foe to conquer, but as something to comprehend. When we come across a tree, we don't just observe its trunk, leaves, or fruits. We observed the rain that provided nourishment, the sun that cast its rays, and the earth that held its roots firmly. Acts of violence or harm cannot be justified or excused based on this understanding. Instead, it provides a viewpoint, a way to see anger with clarity and empathy. When we truly grasp the essence of our anger, we become more capable of responding to it in a way that doesn't involve more anger. Instead, we can approach it with mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. Today, as the world observes the escalating conflict between Gaza and Israel, it's important for us to reflect on our own internal struggles. Through gaining insight into our individual frustrations, we can start to comprehend the broader conflicts that exist in our society. In doing so, we may discover methods to alleviate these tensions by embracing empathy and understanding. Years ago, on a peaceful morning in a retreat, I have chanced to talk with a young man from Palestine. His name was Walid. As he looked for comfort, his eyes revealed a blend of sadness and anger. He shared his deeply emotional story of loss after an airstrike tragically took away his family. He found himself struggling to make sense of the overwhelming emotions that consumed him. His entire world crumbled within seconds, leaving behind a void brimming with fury. Every day, while the men and the women engaged in their walking meditation, I couldn't help but notice Walid sitting by himself, frequently lost in contemplation as he gazed at the horizon. You could feel the turmoil brewing inside him. However, a few days later, a remarkable change took place. Walid started to feel the transformative power of the mindfulness retreat. As he embraced the teachings on mindfulness, found solace in the supportive community, and enjoyed the serene surroundings. As the sun began to set, casting a beautiful array of colors across the sky, Walid took the opportunity to share his journey with the community. At first, he started, "My anger was like this never-ending storm, just taking over everything." However, as I spent more time sitting with it and focusing on my breath, my perspective started to shift. I caught a glimpse of my inner child, yearning for the comforting warmth of a mother's hug. I spotted the teenager, yearning for his father's validation. I witnessed the memories, the laughter, the tears all contributing to the anger. And suddenly, it hit me. Despite the overwhelming intensity of my anger, it was clear that no amount of it could ever bring back my family. However, it had the ability to disturb the tranquility of the time I had left. I prefer a peaceful approach as I move forward. Many times, our anger serves as a way to protect ourselves, hiding the underlying pain and vulnerability we feel. By addressing and comprehending this discomfort, we can start to alleviate the frustration. Walid's journey from intense anger to a place of understanding highlights the incredible impact of practicing mindfulness and self-reflection. It's interesting to consider the context in which this transformation took place. The mindfulness retreat allowed Walid to explore his emotions in a supportive and caring environment, where community, mindfulness, and compassion was highly valued. It really emphasizes how crucial it is to have a network of people who are there for you and understand you when things get tough. Walid's story holds a profound resonance within the backdrop of the Gaza-Israel conflict. There are so many Walids on both sides carrying the burden of grief and frustration. Everyone's stories, their pain, their anger are all valid. But maybe if someone like Walid can find a way to go from anger to peace, there might be hope for others as well. Once upon a time, at another retreat in the Blue Mountain, I had the pleasure of meeting Adele, a woman from Israel. Adele had experienced several conflicts and tragically lost a close friend in a bombing incident. Her grief was palpable, yet she displayed a strong resolve to seek understanding. She told me a story that really resonated with everyone present that day. During one summer, Adele made the decision to go on a journey. She journeyed to a village in Palestine to participate in a workshop, where Israelis and Palestinians gathered to exchange their stories. The goal was not to engage in a debate or persuade anyone, but rather to just lend an ear. Adele found herself paired with Layla, a Palestinian woman, on the third day. As they sat across from each other, Adele began to share her story. She talked about the day she lost her friend and the intense anger she experienced towards those she held responsible for the tragedy. After Adele finished speaking, Layla couldn't help but shed tears as she bravely shared her own personal story. She mentioned her brother, who was taken away and never came back. Her family was deeply affected by the uncertainty surrounding his fate. As Layla chatted away, Adele couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement building up inside her. The distinction between Issa's and them started to fade. In front of her stood someone who had experienced pain, just like she had. This person was not an enemy, but a fellow human being. When we make the choice to genuinely listen to someone's story, without any preconceived notions, biases, or judgments, we connect with the core of our shared humanity. Engaging in conversation in this way is not about endorsing or approving, but about gaining comprehension. The accomplishments of Adele and Layla on that day were truly remarkable. They were able to break free from the constraints of societal expectations and preconceived notions, allowing them to truly see and understand the individual sitting right in front of them. However, it's important to note that not all of their differences were resolved, or that they agreed on everything. However, within that special moment of open conversation, they acknowledged the pain they both experienced. These stories are amongst the many thousand stories in the broader context of the Gaza-Israel conflict. They serve as a reminder that beyond the complexities of politics, history, and conflict, there are real people with their own unique stories, aspirations, and struggles. When people genuinely listen to and share these stories, it can help foster understanding and build bridges. The art of compassionate listening is like taking care of a fragile flower. It's important to approach it with patience, care, and a non-judgmental attitude. When we truly listen to others, we create a safe space for them to freely express themselves without any judgment or negativity, providing a secure space for individuals to express their emotions, thoughts, and feelings. When we actively listen with empathy, we're not simply passively receiving words. Instead, we engage in a lively exchange that fosters a profound bond and mutual comprehension. It's a way of connecting that goes beyond just words, reaching the core of our collective human experience. I got a few steps for guiding myself when I do compassionate listening that I want to share with you. Step 1. Being there. Being fully engaged in the moment is crucial. It's important to put aside our own stories, intentions, and distractions in order to truly engage with the other person. Being fully engaged in a conversation lets the other person know that we value them and their story. Step 2. Approach the conversation with an open and receptive mindset. It's important to approach conversations with an open mind and without any preconceived judgments. Try to understand the person behind their words or actions. Being receptive and non-judgmental allows one to receive openly. Step 3. Quietness. There are moments when staying quiet can be the most compassionate reaction. It allows the other person to freely express themselves, explore their emotions, and discover their own insights. Step 4. Engaging in reflective listening. It's important to reiterate or rephrase what the other person has said to make sure we're on the same page. It lets the other person know that their thoughts and feelings are being acknowledged and comprehended. Step 5. Sometimes we tend to give advice or offer solutions without thinking. However, when engaging in a conversation, The goal is not to solve problems, but rather to gain understanding. It's generally a good idea to hold back on offering advice unless someone specifically asks for it. I remember a period in my family. My son and his cousin were arguing on something. When there was a lot of tension, they were full of anger and about to enter a fight. As I was sensing the growing tension, quickly, I suggested that the two of them to come together and have a friendly conversation over a cup of tea. While enjoying their tea, I kindly requested that they take turns speaking, attentively listening to each of them. Really paid attention. As the conversation went on, the negative emotions gradually dissipated, giving way to a sense of mutual respect and understanding. That day brings no solutions or agreements, but it did plant the seeds of understanding. Engaging in a heartfelt conversation enabled people to transcend their usual reactions and connect with the hidden emotions of pain, fear, and longing. By adopting a more attentive approach, we can truly grasp the meaning behind the words and connect with the emotions and humanity of the speaker. In order to promote peace in our world, it is essential that we first develop the skill of empathetic listening within ourselves. When we take the time to truly listen, we create opportunities for understanding, reconciliation, and love. As we go about our day, let's pause for a moment and focus on ourselves. Emotions, such as anger, have the potential to overwhelm us if we don't manage them properly. However, by practicing mindfulness and compassion, we have the ability to calm these intense emotions, allowing us to find clarity and inner peace even in the midst of chaos. Let's start practice meditation together, shall we? Find a position that feels comfortable for you. You have the option of sitting on a cushion, a chair, or even lying down. Make sure your posture is relaxed yet attentive. Just relax and close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in, and then exhale slowly. Let the cadence of your breath keep you grounded in the here and now. Step 1. Let's start with grounding. Take a moment to notice the sensation of your body resting on the cushion or chair. Take a moment to notice the points where your body connects with the surface beneath you. Picture roots reaching down from the bottom of your spine, firmly anchoring you to the ground. As you take a breath, imagine these roots extending further, linking you to the comforting energy of Mother Earth. Step 2. Identifying the frustration. Take a moment to shift your focus towards any feelings of anger or frustration that you may be holding on to. Let's try not to be too quick to judge or dismiss it. Just acknowledge that it's there. Hello there. I can sense your presence, and I want you to know that I'm here to support you. Imagine your awareness as a comforting presence, gently acknowledging the presence of anger without getting caught up in its story. Step 3. Breathing with the anger. As you keep breathing, picture each breath soothing the fires of frustration. Imagine this cooling energy as a soft blue light, bringing a sense of peace and tranquility. As you breathe out, let go of any tension or tightness that may be connected to the anger. Take a deep breath and let go of any stress or worries. 4. Gaining a deeper understanding. So, let's have a little chat with our anger, shall we? We can ask it, "Hey anger, what's on your mind? What is the source of the pain or hurt that lies beneath your passionate demeanor?" Engage in meaningful conversations, showing genuine empathy and a genuine desire to learn. Let insights and understandings come up naturally in the conversation. Just keep in mind that there's no definitive answer. It's just a journey of self-discovery. Step 5. Showing empathy. Imagine your heart space glowing with a soft, comforting light. This radiates with empathy and comprehension. Let's focus this light on your anger, gently soothing and comforting it. Dear anger, I have a better understanding of you now. Thank you for bringing to my attention the areas of my life that require some care and healing. As you take a moment to breathe, picture a gentle light growing and surrounding you completely. Let it reach out to everyone impacted by the conflict, misunderstandings, and pain. 6. Now, let's get back to the present. Take a moment to gradually deepen your breath. Take a moment to notice the sensations in your body, the feel of the air on your skin, and the sounds that surround you. Playfully wiggle your fingers and toes, rousing your body. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. Thank you very much for joining me in this practice of meditation. Let the clarity and peace we found today serve as a guiding light, leading us towards understanding and reconciliation. Let's not forget that beneath the waves of anger, there is a vast ocean of shared humanity, just waiting to be acknowledged and embraced. We've delved into the fascinating world of anger and the incredible impact of compassionate listening. Still, we're left with the question, how do we manage to stay calm in the midst of all the chaos, especially when our loved ones are directly affected? The pain and concern we feel for our loved ones is genuine and deserving of acknowledgement. Peace truly starts from within. It's as if a spark within us can brighten even the most challenging circumstances. I have a 4-steps practice that I normally use to find peace within myself. Let me share them with you. Step 1. Cultivating a sense of inner peace. Start your day by taking a few moments to embrace the tranquility of silence. It's not about disregarding what's happening around you, but rather about finding a sense of stability. During these peaceful moments, we have the opportunity to rejuvenate, reflect, and tap into our inner resilience. Step 2. Limiting media consumption. It's important to stay informed, but constantly being exposed to distressing news can really increase anxiety levels. Make it a point to schedule regular times throughout the day to stay updated. And make sure you're getting information from reliable sources. Just a friendly reminder, taking care of your mental and emotional well-being is really important. Step 3. Mindful consumption. It's important to pay attention to what you consume, not only when it comes to food, but also in terms of the information you take in, the conversations you engage in, and the entertainment you enjoy. Take care of your body and mind by surrounding yourself with things that uplift and bring positivity. Step 4. Daily reflection. Wrap up your day with some thoughtful introspection. Take a moment to reflect on your emotions, the choices you made, and the conversations you had. Let's focus on gaining a deeper understanding of ourselves rather than passing judgment. When we start noticing patterns, it allows us to be more aware and deliberate in the choices we make. Amidst the chaos around you, these 4-step practices can serve as a grounding force. While the external situation may not be altered right away, it has the potential to reshape your approach to it. As we continue to embrace peace, understanding, and action instead of indifference, fear, or hostility, we are making a collective shift in the global narrative. Today, we've explored a range of emotions, from anger to understanding and compassion. We've had engaging conversations about stories of hope, pondered the profound impact of listening, and reflected on the challenges we face within ourselves. We've been actively searching for practical ways to find peace in the midst of chaos. During these challenging times, it's normal to experience a range of emotions: sadness, anxiety, uncertainty, optimism, and at times, indifference. However, in the midst of this wide range of emotions, there is a timeless truth that remains constant: our common humanity. In the midst of the darkest night, always keep in mind that the dawn is just around the corner. It is during our toughest times that the genuine nature of humanity becomes evident. We've seen this firsthand through numerous acts of kindness, unity, and affection, even when faced with challenges. But I think the most important thing we learn from our conversation today is that peace is not just something that happens outside of us, like a treaty being signed or a war coming to an end. Peace is found deep within, nurtured by the decisions we make daily, the kindness we show, and the connections we forge through empathy. The conflict between Gaza and Israel serves as a reminder, impacting people in different ways based on their proximity and personal connection. I believe that every little action we take adds up and makes a difference in the grand scheme of things. It's fascinating how our thoughts, feelings, and actions can have a ripple effect, reaching places we may never even be aware of.